Welcome back to the channel. Hope you're all keeping safe and well. In this episode of Spurs Chat, we will be talking about the Middlesbrough v Tottenham Hotspur game in the FA Cup fifth round, where Tottenham Hotspur have just gone out of the competition, losing the game 1-0. Now, before I introduce tonight's guest, if you don't subscribe to the channel as yet, please do hit that subscribe button. And just a reminder that these shows are now available on audio platforms such as Spotify and Amazon Music. So if you are listening on an audio platform, do hit that follow button and leave a review if you can. Tonight, I've got Spurs fan Gary and Spurs fan Craig with me. Gary, good evening. How are you?
I'm all right, mate. Yeah, nothing that I didn't expect. Not surprised in the slightest. Same old Tottenham, win a game, lose a game, we're shit. Half the team shit. I'm just grateful and glad that we lost in extra time and it didn't go to penalties, because it would have been more embarrassing than what Kepa was for Chelsea the other day. So all in all, it's what I expected.
Well, we'll get into the football in a second. Craig, evening. How are you?
All right, Chris. All right, everyone. Yeah, just pissed off. Gary makes me happy, so I can't be miserable around Gary. But Christ Almighty, that was crap again, wasn't it? And we were chatting before we came live, and we were saying we try and keep these chats without a lot of swearing in. But I do apologise tonight if there's to everyone if there's a bit of swearing, because that is just not acceptable tonight for me. That was appalling.
We've also got Eleanor with us. Eleanor, good evening. How are you?
I don't really know what to say, to be honest. not very good. Not very good. Yeah. I'll tell you that.
Well, Eleanor, let's get straight into it. Let's talk about the football. Let's start with you. What did you make of tonight's match?
Awful. The only thing that was worse was BBC's coverage. Like, legit. Like, the game was awful. I mean, I don't know why we wait till the last minute, till we've conceded, to actually start trying to play some football. I don't see why it takes that long. Why don't you just start the game like that and we'll see what happens? We had a few chances right at the end. Imagine if we did that all game. It's always like we need a wake-up call. Why can't you play like that the whole game? I don't understand. I don't see why we go from one extreme to the other. I mean, we did it with City. We then went to Burnley, messed it up. Now we did it again. I mean, Leeds are awful, but Middlesbrough is supposed to be worse. Like, and then we play decently against Leeds. Then we go, we go to Middlesbrough, can't do it. Like, there's never two games. Like, it's never two games that we can play consistently good. Like, I don't know what it is. I haven't seen any of Conte's comments. I don't know what they are, but I dread to think what Conte's going to say, because I'm not too happy with his press conferences at the moment. To me, I don't like the up and down. I know he's trying to get a reaction, but I don't think it's very encouraging. I didn't like it from Jose, so I'm not going to like it from Conte. Like, I can't be like, what annoys me is that he's probably going to start crying about it now, and I can't be asked for it.
Eleanor, you just said there, we went from that Manchester City win, beating the champions at the Etihad 3-2. Then, of course, losing to Burnley. Then that fantastic performance at Leeds. I know many people say, well, Leeds weren't a very good team anyway, and we had lots of chances. But all of this up, down, are you surprised by this, particularly under the management of Conte?
Do you mean surprised by the consistency or by the performance today?
The lack of consistency. That is the big thing for me. It's all about consistency. And I know we'll get onto the team lineup shortly, but we had the strongest team possible, and we just didn't get going today.
The thing is, I'm surprised that he's not able to get a tune out of them more longer than one game. That's what I'm surprised at. I'm surprised that we can't put anything together. But when I've watched us, I'm not surprised today happened. I should be sitting here livid. But at one point, I'm like, well, what did you expect? It's almost, that shouldn't be okay, especially under the management, as you've said, that we have. We have one of the best managers in world football, in my opinion, prime today. If we're talking about in their prime, you are supposed to be in your prime. Don't sit there and say after a game, maybe I'm not good enough. You're our last hope. So I just think that, right. There's no denying I don't like ENIC, yeah? ENIC out. Cool. But you're telling me those group of players couldn't play better against Middlesbrough? Let's not say that we people are not playing second string teams against these teams. So I can't sit there and say, Enoch out, we need the best players possible to beat Middlesbrough. Let's say that 11 was our second 11 because we got Enoch out and we got who we wanted. That 11 should be able to beat Middlesbrough.
Yeah.
You know what I'm trying to say? Like, let's say we have better players. It would still I would want to see if we had better players and able to have rotation, that sort of 11 coming out for this sort of game. So this is where I'm like, yes, 100% I'm Enoch out, and yes, we need more backing. But I don't want to sit here and pretend that the team couldn't have done better. That's what annoys me, whereas people just straight away, 1 minute, oh, we're beating City, and everyone's fine, we're all happy. We've lost to Burnley, it's Enoch out. No, we've got to look at, there's got to be some sort of consistency pattern here. You can't just sit there and say our players are not good enough to go toe-to-toe with Middlesbrough. Yes, they knocked out United. I don't care about that. I look at our club and our team, and we should be able to do better than that. We should be playing hoofball against Middlesbrough. I don't care who we've got on that pitch. We are Tottenham Hotspur. We shouldn't have to do that.
Yeah. Craig, let's come to you. You know, in my opinion, there's absolutely no doubt that the best team won this evening. Your thoughts on tonight's match?
I just don't think we was at it really from minute one. I totally agree. Middlesbrough fully deserved the victory. They just wanted it more than us. All over the park, more or less. I think there's only probably one or two Spurs players can say they had a decent game tonight. Everyone else was crap. About passes bouncing off people not putting in the shift, people not chasing things down. It was the worst game I think I've ever seen Heung-min Son have tonight.
Yeah, oh my God.
I think Kane was pretty bad too, which doesn't help when both of them are off their game. No idea what was going on there. Midfield seemed slow. The passes that went astray. I see a stat that Kane and Son had given the ball away 40 times between them tonight, and I can believe that. That's unbelievable. There just seemed to be no movement off the ball. There seemed to be no space. Everything just seemed so slow, and just took us ages to get anywhere and up the pitch, and then we were cutting back and passing back. There was just no urgency. There was no. If we were trying to play counter-attacking football, that wasn't working. It just wasn't getting up the pitch quick enough. It was like they was all running through treacle all game. It was just appalling. And somebody said in the commentary, I think Danny Murphy said in the commentary, it's one step forward, one step back. It was probably even more back, and that's how it feels with Tottenham. You just think you're getting somewhere, you're just getting that belief back, and they go and kick you in the nuts again. That is exactly how I feel at the moment. It's so frustrating, so frustrating. And I said before, I just feel sorry for the likes of you, Chris, and all the other fans that travelled all the way up to Middlesbrough on a cold night in the pissing rain to watch that shit. It's not acceptable.
Gary, let's come to you. I spoke to you earlier today. You were confident of Tottenham Hotspur going through to the quarterfinals. How are you feeling now?
Not surprised. I just want to touch on Danny Murphy because I think he's a right arsehole, man. His commentary tonight, he really got on my nerves. What an absolute dick he is. And not just him, but everyone, Gary Lineker included, Shearer. No one wanted Tottenham to go through anyway. When does anyone want Tottenham to win, apart from Tottenham fans? But that Danny Murphy, he knows nothing about football. What a dickhead. I mean, I can remember there was a terrible foul, and he was like, oh, there's nothing wrong with that foul. And then he's changed his mind later. He's an arsehole. But I wrote, Royale shit, Wink shit, Doherty shit, Højbjerg shit, Son shit, Kane shit, Sessegnon okay, Lloris okay, and then I just gave up writing. The whole team, the whole setup, everything was shit. Højbjerg held on to the ball too long. Ben Davies held on to the ball too long. Doherty held on to the ball too long. Kane was making run after run. They weren't passing to him. Doherty's through on goal. He hits it over. Same old Tottenham, same old shit. Next game, we beat Everton 5-0. Everyone's happy again. This is Tottenham. This is what we do. It's not going to change. No matter what manager we get in, we're still going to have useless crap players. I mean, some of Højbjerg's, I'm sorry. I used to be quite a fan of Højbjerg. Very, very bad tonight. Absolute shit Højbjerg was. Really bad. Winks as well. But Doherty for me, I mean, I don't know with Doherty whether or not, because he scored in the last game, he got a bit confident. So thought, I'm not going to square it to Son, but you can't put all the blame on him. But it changes the game then, because we go 1-0 up. You can push on, maybe get a second. We can relax a bit, make a few changes. But just bad decision-making from all of them in midfield. They're absolute shit. Sidewards or backward passes. I got bored of watching. I didn't even sit down and watch the whole game because I got sick and tired of watching them. It was more fun and entertaining watching Borough attack and their build-up than what it was Tottenham, because it was stop, start, stop, start. Fuck, just same old shit. Same old shit. That's it.
Kane's free kick was good, though, wasn't it? That was probably the best one he's took yet.
Yeah. You saw me screaming at the telly. Why he still takes free kicks, I don't know. It's ridiculous.
Let's take a question here. At the very least, Antonio Conte's selection was positive tonight. It showed he took the competition seriously. Now, I must say, before the game, I was extremely pleased that he named exactly the same starting 11 that played against Leeds and beat Leeds 4-0. And he did take it seriously. Eleanor, let's come to you on this point, because you've just said that Tottenham Hotspur starting 11 should have beat Middlesbrough tonight. We've got probably our best starting 11 out there. Yeah. What went wrong?
I've seen a few comments like, "Oh, these players are poor." Yes, they are poor, but you're playing Middlesbrough, and I'm not trying to disrespect anyone, but we are supposed to be the better team. If we had a better 11 and we put out our second 11 and that was it, I would not think that 11 can't get the job done. So what went wrong? Passion, actually trying. There was no effort. There was no heart. Like Craig said, and everyone said, basically, it's literally they just wanted it more. We didn't we cared. Like Son had, honestly, that was one of his worst cameos I've seen in a Spurs shirt. I think that was
it's terrible,
awful. Doherty could. I don't even want to know. Like he was literally through on. Everyone knows what I'm talking about. I don't even want to speak on it. So there's that chance. Kane's goal, if there was VAR, cool, probably wasn't offside. We shouldn't be relying on that. Like I don't know. Obviously there was luck involved. Like luck wasn't on our side, but also like it's just it was just awful. Just mentality wasn't there. Genuinely, mentality. We weren't in it to win it. We were just in it thinking we're gonna somehow win this anyway. Kind of like we're plodding along, expecting to somehow get the goal, job done, move on to the next round. That's what it looked like they were thinking. And it wasn't coming. Then at the end, we started, when we conceded, we turned it up a bit. Why did it take that long? As I said before, it didn't take that long to turn it up. And some comments are saying, yes, Skip is a big miss in this midfield, by the way. Bentancur, big miss in this midfield. Winks is just awful. Like, I cannot watch Winks, Højbjerg play together. Like, I'm dreading Everton because Jesus Christ, like, I can't see. I hate that midfield. I actually hate it together as a partnership. It's awful.
Talking about the starting 11 now, Eleanor, were you surprised on how strong Conte did go?
No, not really. I just see who else. I don't see who else we play, really. No, we don't have a second 11 that's good enough to take on anyone, realistically. So I wasn't surprised, especially now. I don't want to upset people, but especially as I think we're pretty much out of the top 4 race. So I think it was like put all your eggs in the trophy basket, which is fair enough at this stage. And not everyone knows the way I feel about top 4. We're not going to get into that right now. But at this stage of what way we've messed it up, I think it was like, let's go really strong, go for this trophy, give the fans something this season, as they won't be getting Champions League probably. Let's just go all out. And I expected Conte wanted to win a domestic trophy. Like his record isn't the best in terms of cup competitions. He's obviously very good at winning the league. We know that. But in terms of like cup competition, sure, he wanted to improve that. And I think he just thought, put the best 11 out, get the job done, see you next time, like next round. I think that's what his mentality was. Obviously, the best 11 for us still wasn't good enough. And not in terms of quality, in terms of effort. So that's my issue. That effort wasn't there. I think we put out a bit more effort and just showed a bit more heart. I mean, we showed heart against City. We beat City on heart and like actually wanting to win that game. We put everything into that game. So don't sit there and say to me, we don't have quality. We do have quality. It's just we don't have enough to do it every week, which I understand. But we're not even playing average. We're not playing brilliantly and then playing average and then playing brilliantly. It's brilliant, awful, brilliant, awful. It's like so up and down that it's just, to me, they only turn up for a big game. We're turning into that small club mentality where it's you're playing a big team, let's play better, and then you don't have the quality to do it every week. So that's why, for example, when you see the likes of, I don't know, a Burnley or something beating a City or a Liverpool, they're not going to finish in the top 4 because they're not able to go continue it. That's what we're turning into. We're turning into a one show, one game club, and that needs to change. And I think genuinely today, to me, just effort. They thought they were going to get it handed to them and they didn't. And they were shocked. And then once they didn't, we started playing a bit more. Why didn't we have like 3 chances right at the end? Because why didn't you do that at the beginning? If you played the game like that from minute 1, wouldn't have gone to extra time. In my opinion, we had too much quality, in my opinion, up front. If we played the way we did.
Yeah.
So that's what I think. I don't know.
Craig, let's come to you. I just want to ask you how you feel right now. It's going to be another season without a trophy.
Just somebody put in the comments there, I look totally destroyed, and that's actually how I felt when just before I came on. It's just as I said, this club, it kills you, doesn't it? It gets you up there. Well, you get to your lowest point and you think, oh bollocks, I'm done with this. And then they pull something out like the Man City result, and you're on cloud 9. You're thinking, yes, we've turned a corner. That's how we can play. We'll take that into the next game, and then they're crap again. And it's so up and down. It's like you don't know what, like it must be like living with a partner that you never know what mood they're going to be in. One day they're in a good mood. It's like being bipolar. It's a total bipolar club.
My cat's bipolar, so I know what you're talking about.
Exactly, most cats are, aren't they? Yeah.
He's mental.
It's just so frustrating. I don't understand what went wrong tonight, though. After that positive result at Leeds, don't get me wrong. Leeds could have scored a few goals. They should have scored a few goals against us. I think that Leeds, as bad as Leeds were, I think that result was quite flattering, actually. But we did deserve to beat Leeds. Don't get me wrong. But they could have and should have scored some goals. But tonight it just looked like they were going through the motions. I think Eleanor's right. I think we thought we got the game won before they went out on that pitch tonight, but they didn't do what they needed to do. And Middlesbrough just wanted it more than us. You could see it all over the pitch. And Conte's been done by Chris Wilder tonight. He's been done by a Chris Wilder team.
Sorry.
So
Chris Wilder too.
It's that's the sad reality. And I love Conte. I think he is the one that is of anybody in the world that could help turn this club around. It's him. But some of his decisions, and as Eleanor said, his press conferences, I'm not losing faith in Conte. I don't want him to go or anything like that. I don't think he's going to walk. But some of his decisions, I just don't get it. And if he can't turn these players around, we are done for. I'm telling you, absolutely done for. I don't think he's going to walk, But
let me come back to you on Conte, Craig. There's some comments just being published on his press conference, and Conte has come out and said, I feel that we lost a good chance to go through to the next round and play in the quarterfinals of this important competition. I feel there is disappointment. We should kill the game before extra time. When you play this type of game from the start, you have to kill the game. You should kill your opponent. Your opponent has to feel tonight it would be a bad night. Instead, we kept Middlesbrough alive. I don't think about myself. We have to think about us, not me. For me, there's no problem. There's the desire and the will to work very hard to improve and make this team more stable than the past. Craig, how do you feel? What do you think that Antonio Conte, what do you think he'll be saying in the changing room now, and how do you think that he will be feeling about this Spurs squad? Particularly after beating Man City, losing to Burnley, beating Leeds the way we did, and then it's like, here we go again. We're all sitting here disappointed. He must be scratching his head because, whenever I saw Antonio Conte, I don't know. Tonight he just didn't seem very animated, like we've seen Conte every single Spurs game. It was weird for me.
Yeah, it was weird. Every time the camera zoomed in on him, he just had his arms folded. Didn't really look bothered. It looked like he didn't want to really be there
doing
tonight.
His best Nuno impression.
He was. If he'd had a beard, if you'd have stuck a beard on him tonight, it would have been Nuno. It was really, really odd, really very downbeat. As for what he was saying in the changing room, I hope he was doing his bollocks in there at him. But I don't think I can't see him doing that tonight. I don't know if that's what he's like, but I think he probably realises that this squad doesn't need just one or two players. It needs half a dozen or more in the summer, and quality to come in, because that midfield, it just goes to show, if you're relying on Skip and Bentancur was missing tonight, you know, what else have you got? What struck me, Kane was having an off day and there was zero creativity tonight. Absolutely nothing. And you look to the bench, there is nothing on that bench for creativity. And it just all went tits up tonight. And he'll be thinking that midfield has got to have a massive overhaul. We need a right wing back that can actually cross a ball. I'm sorry, but Emerson Royale, I'm done with him. I just don't think that's worked. He's possibly the worst Brazilian. Oh, no, I was going to say he's the worst Brazilian I've ever seen, but Gervinho was pretty bad, wasn't he? So I just think it hasn't worked out. He's got good parts to his game, but what we need him for, he's not very good at. But we need somebody that can make an impact. There's so many holes all over that team that need replacing and sorting out. And I just hope he is backed early in the summer, because I just want this season over. Now we're out of the FA Cup. I just want this season done with, because like I just don't think we've got enough consistency to even push for the top four, which is really sad. Because a few weeks ago, I actually thought we could give this a go, but I just can't see it now. I think we'd be lucky to finish fifth at the moment, to be honest with you, which is really bad, really sad. But that's the way it is. I can't lie anymore. I just can't see it. I just can't see it.
Haven't we heard that too many times before? Just want this season over and done with.
Yeah, and that's the sad reality, Chris, isn't it? It's been like it too long. They were saying at half time during the game that Shearer, not Shearer, was Shearer in the studio? He was, wasn't he?
Yeah, Shearer was,
wasn't he?
Yeah,
he was saying they were about the Poch days and how we were 2 players away probably from winning the league or the Campbell, and he's spot on. We never did push on, and it all stems from this slow decline where we never strengthened. 2 more players, we would have got over the line, and that's where it all started to go wrong about 3 or 4 years ago, because we didn't do the right thing. We didn't strengthen. It's so sad, because you can see, we've got one of the best managers in the world. Talk about the stadium, the training ground, everything is there except the squad, and it needs a massive investment in the summer, and that's the only way. That's the only way we're going to turn the corner, because these players just aren't good enough and consistent enough in the long run, and they're not going to do anything for this club. Massive work ahead.
Gary, let's come to you. Stephen writes on screen now, did they soak the pitch before the game? Heavy legs, slipping. Middlesbrough would prepare for that. Not an excuse, but it could have made the difference. What I found quite strange is the amount of Tottenham Hotspur players tonight that did slip on that pitch. What did you make of it?
Yeah, there was loads, but I don't think that's the pitch. I just think that's the players, because they can't run or walk straight. They're just like got 2 left feet. So when you're seeing players like Winks slip and fall over and Ben Davies, you're just thinking they probably do that in normal everyday life off the pitch. When they're just walking to the shops to go and grab some milk, they're probably tripping over and taking grannies with them and everything, because they can't play football, so they can't walk in a straight line. So you can't blame the environment or the pitch, because Borough still had to play on it. It's just our players, they're shit. That's it, unfortunately. You can't blame the weather or the grass, or, you know, we're up north, or it's a bit cold or dark, or, you know, or lasagna. Just our players are shit. They're shit players.
Don't hold back, Gary. Don't hold back.
No, it's, you know, listen, I looked at that team today, man, and like Royale, Winks, Doherty in particular, like Doherty is the one for me. He proper wound me up today. I mean, he's wound me up in a lot of games.
Emerson winds me up as well, though.
Oh, just honest to God, like these players are just absolute
these right
dog
wing
shit.
backs.
And do you know what? I get what he's saying about the pitch, but These players are doing it at home on our lovely pitch. They're playing shit like that. When we've got the best ground ever, the biggest stadium, a lovely stadium, and we're losing 2-0 to Wolves. Like, it's just the same shit, different day. You know, we're crap.
Gary, did you write this comment on screen now? Are you Michael?
Yeah. There you go. Spot on, Michael. That's my middle name, though, Michael. But he knows. Look, at the end of the day, it is what it is. Like I said, we're not winning nothing. The only trophy we had a chance of winning was Europa Conference, and they threw us out of that unfairly. But that's Tottenham. We're getting thrown out of Europa Conference. We're going out to Borough. You know, when we had a chance on winning before, we got food poisoning from lasagna. We lost it at the bridge. You know, all it is Tottenham Hotspur. You know, we're going to finish sixth, probably, best of all. And all we could hope for, our trophy was the other week beating Man City. When we beat Man City the other week, I celebrated that like a trophy because I knew that's the closest we're going to get to it because we're Tottenham Hotspur. That's it. You know, you don't support this club for the trophies. If you want to support a club and a team for trophies and for winning things, don't support Tottenham because you're not going to be very happy.
Gary, you know, answer me honestly now. How do you genuinely feel about we're not going to have a trophy again, another season without a trophy?
Honestly, I feel absolutely fine about it because I'm used to it. I never expected us to win any trophy apart from that Europa Conference. I genuinely thought that was the only one we had an opportunity to win because the teams in it weren't as good. And that was the only reason why I felt we had a small chance. The FA Cup, if we would have beaten Borough tonight, we're only going to get a hard quarter or semi and go out anyway. And even if we got to the final, we're not going to win it. We're shit. We're not good enough to win a final. We're crap. We got to the Carabao Cup final and we were kidding ourselves. We were dog shit against Man City. So why not go out now rather than extend the pain to get to semi or the final and then go out? It's absolutely pointless.
I think it's a bit hard, Gary. I think it's a bit hard.
Hope.
Yeah. When you look at that performance against Manchester City, you know that you've got those players. You know that they can perform.
Yeah. Listen, Man City's a one-off, right? It's a one-off. We then go and lose to Burnley the following week, which are all after the Man City game. Every single fan of every team will say it to me, you're going to hammer Burnley. I said, we're not. We're going to lose to Burnley. This is Tottenham Hotspur. We're not consistent enough. So we're not going to go all the way through and then win a trophy in the final. Until something massive changes, we're always going to fall short. We're the bridesmaid, not the bride. It's the same shit, different day. The only thing we can hope for now is that we beat Woolwich. There's nothing else. We're not getting top four. We're finishing sixth. But guess what? I'm all right with that because that's my club. And they've always been like that. It's fair enough. We ain't won the FA Cup in 32 years? You know, Gary Lineker, the presenter, he looks like... That's all I know. It was 91 when we last won it.
Yeah, 31 years ago. Eleanor,
31 years ago. I was there. And like Gary Lineker looks like death now. And he was there when we won it. He looks dead.
Harry Kane weren't born. Harry Kane weren't born when we won it.
I'm 26. I was born in 95.
Christ almighty, Wembley had the Twin Towers, for God's sake. Listen, we're not a club of trophies. We're not going to win nothing. We're not going to win anything for a long time. What we will do, though, is pull off a few good results here and there. But other than that, until something massive changes, it will never, ever change. Yes, we're going to follow our club. We're going to support them. I'm covered head to toe in Tottenham. I got Tottenham socks on, PJs and a T-shirt. Am I going to stop supporting them? No. Am I going to stop wearing my colours? No. Am I going to stop going to the games? No. Are we going to win a trophy? No. That's Tottenham.
I don't know what to say. Eleanor,
you should be used to Chris. You should be used to this. You had this in the car in Amsterdam with me in France and everything.
25 hours of it, yeah. Eleanor, you haven't even seen us lift an FA Cup. How do you feel about that?
This is what I mean. Like, right. So I always say this story. You know, when England lost the final, I was watching it with my friends, all different fans, their little cousins, their nieces, whatever. They all started crying when they lost the final. I said, if you lot were Spurs fans, you'd be fine right now. You'd be used to this meeting. Your character's built up. Like, how are you crying? Like, this is just normal second nature to me. I lose a final. I'm sad, but I don't, you just have to get up and do it again. It's like, for me, like I feel like you lot, like my dad as well, has more, like, because you lot have seen more glory than me. So you have more like me, I'm used to this thing. I don't expect to win anything. So for me, it's like, yeah, if we win it, great. If we don't, what's changed? What's different? Whereas like you lot have seen more, so you want it more. Whereas I want it
only a little bit more.
Listen. You've seen more than me. I've seen one League Cup in 2008. That's what I've seen.
So a little bit more than that, thankfully.
So, like, I'm like, for me, it's like, okay, I thought go all out of the FA Cup, cool, but we've lost. We're out now. I'm very disappointed, but I didn't expect to win it. So I've never seen us win an FA Cup.
That's half the trouble, though.
Like,
that's half the trouble, Eleanor. I don't think
it would be great.
I don't think the players expected to win it. I don't think the players expected to win it. That's half the trouble.
That's it. You know what I think it is? I think the ambition leaks from the top now, and that doesn't mean spending money per se. I just think the message is different. Like, for example, you go into a Chelsea season or something, the expectation, even if those same group of players, is to win something in that year. The expectation from our club is not been set from the top. From the top, it's set, do your best, get into Europe. That's enough. Get to later stages of a cup. That's enough. Whereas if the expectation's set from the top, it's set on the manager, it's set on the players, and it leaks through to the fans. We, as a club, we know how we're feeling. We don't feel like we're going to win it. Realistically, you want to and you hope for it, but you just don't feel like you're going to win it. Whereas, like, other clubs, top 6 clubs, okay. I mean, let's not include Arsenal in Big 6, yeah? I mean, like, other, like, proper Big 6 clubs, their expectation...
About the floodlights.
is to win something in the season. At Tottenham Hotspur, the expectation isn't to win something. So when you're saying the players didn't expect it, they're thinking it's fine. It's cool. This is every other season. What's the difference now? We need that urgency from the top to make it happen. The urgency isn't just make Europe. We need it to be win something and make Europe. Why can't that just be the image set? And I know you're going to say, oh, they don't want to spend money to do that. But set that brand, set that image out. There's no pressure. There was no pressure on Conte today to win that game. That's where I think that's different at Chelsea. He's at Chelsea with awful players, for example. Yeah, they were awful this season before he got there. Yeah, that expectation was to win something. So even with the same players, he doesn't have that same urgency, whereas other boards would put him under.
Craig, let's come to you. Now, at half-time, it was 0-0. There was no shots on target from either team. However, at Spurs, we did look to go on the counter-attack. We did look threatening when we were going forward. Didn't have a shot on target. How were you feeling at half-time? Surely you thought that we were going to go on and win the game.
Yeah, I did, to be honest with you, because I wasn't overly concerned at half-time. It weren't a brilliant game, was it? But, you know, I was honestly thinking, it's the way some games go. We'll nick a goal. They didn't really look like scoring. Lloris hadn't had to pull off loads of worldies or anything like that. So yeah, I just thought we was going to kick on in the second half, come out pretty quick, grab a goal, and then do what we do, you know, probably just sit back, soak up the pressure. Because in the first half, what I would say, it was almost like we were luring them on and you thought we was going to play our counter-attacking football and it was like, bang, we're going to go. And it never happened. Whether they were setting traps for us, I don't think they were. I just think we were crap and we couldn't get the ball up the pitch quick enough. And when we did, Kane wasn't controlling it. Son was running down dead blind alleys again, like he does in some games. You know, he'd run past 2 players and run straight into the third. Bit like it was like watching Lucas Moura at times when he was doing that tonight. It's just disappointing. I mean, I disagree in a way with what Gary was saying about, you know, I expected to win tonight, and I am gutted we're out the FA Cup because I just think it's like you said in 1991. I am old enough to remember that. I remember us winning it. And I remember what the feeling is like winning the FA Cup, and
lovely, brilliant.
It was always.
It's nice for you lot, yeah.
It's one of the few pluses about being 48 years old. I probably look older.
£100 I paid for my ticket.
That's incredible. Yeah.
Quid.
But, you know, in
Craig,
the 80s...
I'm with you, Craig. I expected fully that Spurs would win tonight. I expected fully that we would go through to the quarterfinals. And
I expected us to win tonight. I think I didn't expect us to win the whole thing. But to win tonight, yeah, of course.
I remember my missus goes, "Oh, you'll win 3-0 in the second half." I said, "No chance." I said, "There'll be one goal in it, and we're either going to win or lose." And it was just going that way the whole way. It looked a bit like Burnley game, so I wasn't surprised.
Yeah, I wasn't deluded enough to think, oh, we're going to win the FA Cup, you know, without even thinking about, oh, it's a done deal. But I think if we'd have got through tonight, we were in the quarters. If you get a favourable draw, whatever, it's a cup, you know, and it's one game, and anything can happen. And I just thought, seeing the lineup tonight, like it went strong. I don't think many people could have disagreed with the lineup. It was obviously a game we weren't taking lightly. It was obviously a game you wanted to win. It's just that the players let him down tonight. And I genuinely think you saying about Conte looking a bit uninterested on the sideline, I think at some points in that game, he was probably thinking to himself, I don't know what the fuck I'm going to do now. What can I do with this team? You know, that's the bottom line. And he is one of the best managers, and he's got a bit more out of some of the players on occasion, not all the time. But can you polish a turd? You know, is there a limit? Is there a limit to Conte's abilities? There must be, because these players have let 2, 3, 4 managers down now.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, there's a limit, and yes, these are awful players.
There is a limit. There is a limit,
but the limit shouldn't stop at Middlesbrough.
No, it shouldn't. It shouldn't. But I have always said, if you put a Pep Guardiola in charge of Leyton Orient, is he going to turn Leyton Orient into a Premiership team? Probably not. He might get him promoted.
Yes,
you know.
We should, the games we've lost have been games we should be able to win, though, and we haven't even lost.
I reckon I'll put a spin on it. I think if we played at home tonight, we win. But I think because we're away from home, a lot of the players don't like it. They're scared. They don't come out and play properly. They get like a little bit, what's the word, sort of intimidated by the crowd. And they're just altogether crap. I just think they like being in their stadium, home ground, a little bit more comfort. And I do think if we was at home tonight, we would have won and gone through, and I would have been a lot more confident, even at half-time when it was 0-0. But because we was away from home and the players that we have and their mentality and the way that they play, I'm not surprised in the slightest. And like I said, I'm just grateful that, one, we only lost 1-0, and two, it didn't go to penalties, because if it had gone to penalties, it would have been more embarrassing how we went out, because so many of them players would have knocked it wide or over. So it's a blessing in disguise. We only lost 1-0, to be honest with you. I think we should be thankful for it.
Gary, Adrian writes here, the team selection was fine, but I question the tactics. I've seen a number of Spurs fans saying about Conte's tactics tonight. What did you make of it?
Well, I don't know. Like, people are talking about the tactics, but would he say to Docky, every time you get the ball, play it back? Would he say that to Winks? Would he say to Højbjerg, run into dead ends, keep the ball for too long?
Ability is squaring a ball.
You know, when
ability.
Kane's making a run, Winks, instead of playing that ball forward to Kane, play it back. I don't think Conte would be saying that to the Tottenham Hotspur players, because he certainly didn't say that to the Chelsea players when they were winning everything. So why would he say things like that? It doesn't make any sense. It's just the players. They're not confident, or they're not good enough to make them sort of passes. And again, I think they're more likely to make them when they're playing at home. But when they're away, like, you know, we spoke about a Tuesday night at Borough, Wednesday night raining at Burnley, I just don't think they've got enough to do it. I just don't think they're good enough. It's just as simple as that, I'm afraid. And we're always going to have them games like City that draw us in and give us the hope. But remember, this is Tottenham Hotspur. We've got no consistency. We're always going to pull them results, like go to Man United and beat them 6-1. It doesn't mean we're going to get in the top 4. It doesn't mean we're going to win a trophy, because this has always been Tottenham. You know, you had Defoe in there. It was the days of when Defoe was in the Tottenham team. We've always had those good players, and we've always pulled off those good results. But we can't do it consistently enough. On our day, we can beat anyone, but we can also lose to anyone on our day. And that, unfortunately, is being a Tottenham Hotspur fan.
Eleanor, let's come to you. In the 50th minute, Kulusevski won a free kick just outside the box. Harry Kane stepped up. It seemed like he slipped.
Literally, God.
8 minutes later, though, Eric Dyer stepped up for a free kick and forced a great
Bless
save from the
him.
goalkeeper. In your opinion, who should be on the free kicks? The amount of times I've discussed,
I feel like you've had this conversation a lot.
Larice.
Then just stick Dyer on him. Or Son, I see Son in the training videos banging in free kicks. Just stick Son on them or Dyer until we get a bloody free kick taker because we need one.
Even
we need
a new
set
boy, he
piece
might be
taker
good.
because I'm fed up of all of this. We're putting all our chances, all our chances to like, take, as these teams that are bad, when you're playing the Burnleys, the likes, whatever, you always say they've got a set piece in them. Right, if we're saying we're that bad, we don't even have that advantage where we can take the set piece, to our advantage. So we need a set piece taker that we can actually, use and utilize. So put Son and Dyer on them, I guess, depending on distance and how hard you need it to be. And then hopefully get a set piece taker. But people are saying Son is great at free kicks. Yeah, I've seen him in the training videos banging them in. I know it's different, but it's better than seeing Kane slip on the floor. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Kane on free kicks, man. Oh dear, I just
honestly,
don't know.
I don't get excited. Why is it? I'll give you one. Why is it that every corner or free kick, I am not excited for us, but scared every time they're against us, no matter who we're playing?
You're
always
right.
conceding it from corners and free kicks. Terrible.
Eleanor, overall, what did you make of Harry Kane's performance tonight? Because, of course, he had that goal disallowed. He was having his shirt tugged left, right and centre. He just seemed to have a quite difficult game, particularly after the stunning performance that he had on Saturday against Leeds United. Yeah,
he was brilliant against Leeds. It's hard to put it down to Kane. Yes, he's to blame. I always say, if you didn't have a good game and you're part of it, you're part of the reason why we lost today. Yes, but to be fair, he should have had a penalty, in my opinion. He couldn't stay onside for some reason. He also, his goal wasn't off, but again, for me, we shouldn't be relying on that. I don't know. For me, it was Kane. It was weird because again, he didn't have consistency. And he's supposed to be one of world-class player. Like if you're world-class, I'm going to hold you to world-class standards. Today was not world-class standards. You were to blame for what you performed today. Now, yes, he was absolutely fouled everywhere. And, he was having an awful day. Thank you. An awful day. But I don't know. I feel like Son was not helpful at all in this situation. Son was awful. And, it's hard to be the only strike force up top that was doing anything. Kulusevski had a really poor day as well. Everyone had a poor day, so it's hard to pick on Kane. But I will hold Kane to a higher standard, just like I will hold Son to a higher standard to other players. Because to me, Kane's world class and Son's not exactly far behind. I just think Kane's another level. That's why I say Kane's better. So I will hold Kane to a higher standard, and I will say that performance was awful. When you're this is what I mean by when I worry about Kane being clutch. The games where your team is awful, I need you to step up and be the man that you are supposed to be. And he just doesn't do it in these type of situations. He's never done it in a semi-final where the team's been awful or a final. Or I don't really need to list it all, but I just think he does take blame. For me, he does take blame. And today, I don't know what it is. He just couldn't find that same oomph about him that he had against Leeds. Because against Leeds, he was utterly, utterly ridiculous. It was amazing. I was like, this guy, I can't believe we have him still. So but by being our best player, if you're gonna say Kulusevski is our best player, it's not really hard. It doesn't mean he was good. Everyone was awful. FYI.
Craig, let's come to you. What did you make of the front three, Harry Kane, Hun-Min Son and Kulusevski? Because of course they look very threatening at Leeds. Didn't really do a lot this evening, particularly in that first 45 minutes, no shots on target.
No, I thought Kulusevski out of the three just edged it, to be honest. If you're marking them out of 10, I would give more marks for Kulusevski, but I don't think he was particularly impressive tonight
Yeah.
either. I just think they came up against a very resilient defence. Big lads. I personally think Kane was offside for his goal. I think he was pulling on the defender's shirt as well. So I don't think VAR would have, even if he was onside, I don't think we'd have got a penalty for that. I think it was 6 of one, half a dozen the other. Battled well to get in the position, but it was a rough and tough game on a cold, rainy night up north, basically. And I don't think Kulusevski at times didn't know. He looked like he didn't know what hit him, to be honest with you, because it was a very different game to playing against Leeds or City.
Yeah.
I just think none of them had a particularly good night. And as I said earlier in the chat, I think the only one for me that played half decent game tonight was Dyer. I thought he was pretty good. I think Lloris actually, if you're going to throw in the goalkeeper, I thought he done okay tonight. You can't really blame him for the goal. So yeah, but everybody else was just didn't do enough. Chris, and going back to the front three, you could say they didn't get the service, but they didn't do much to make anything either. And what they did try to do, it didn't come off. And when all three of your main forward-thinking players are having an off night, you're going to be in for a long evening.
Craig, in the 55th minute, Middlesbrough floated in a corner. Crooks headed over the bar, but the amount of space that he had, very worrying at that stage.
Yeah, do you know what? And as Ellen has said, I totally agree. Every time
should have took him up, innit?
Well, Doherty was supposed to be marking him, and he lost him.
Yeah.
And then he looked around to like say he was picking him up. Well, it was you. Yeah. You're supposed to. You didn't do your job. But you're absolutely spot on. Every time we get a corner against us or a free kick against us, I shit myself. And honestly, it's becoming a worrying trait. I do not have any faith that we can clear them because I think if it's near, it's going to sound daft, but if it's near our defenders, we clear the ball. But it seems like they're not going with their markers time and time again, and people are getting so much space in the box. And had that been against a better team tonight, and if they're taking their chances, Borough could have been 3-0 up, purely from set pieces. And that is the thing. That is the thing. And you cannot defend like that. I just knew we was going to get punished eventually. It's just shocking defending again. What are they working on in training? If they are working on it, they're not working on it very well, because this is time and time again. Any team that has a free kick against us, where we've got to have a line, whether that be 18-yard box, wherever, corners, I just get nervous. And when we had Jan and Toby there in that back line, I wasn't as nervous. We seem to be able to defend set pieces a lot better, and that's a massive failing for me.
There's some more comments here from Antonio Conte. He said, I cannot consider my players the best in the world, but we work to improve for the future, to try and reflect.
I thought they were the best.
Defeat. For sure, this defeat has to hurt me, the players, and everyone that works at Tottenham Hotspur. Gary, let's come to you. Actually, Eleanor, did you want to come in at that point?
Yeah. What was your? Should I read the comments after the City game, because your correlation is very different. The fact that he's sitting there saying these are the best group of players I've ever worked with. I'm so happy to be here with these players, and then 2 days later you're changing your story. I can't have this manager throw his toys out the pram every loss, but then every win you're bigging it up like they're the best thing since sliced bread.
Isn't that like most Tottenham fans though on Twitter and Facebook?
No, but you're supposed to be the manager. You're not on Twitter. You're not a fan on Twitter. You're the manager. Changing your mind like the weather. I can't be bothered. Like, to sit there and say, "Oh, they're the best." The words they're the best group of players he's ever worked with.
I just wonder though, is some of it though, because it's Conte and his English and stuff, not making excuses for him, but I think some of when he actually says things, is he meaning what he says and it's taken out of context as well.
I think what he meant was when he said the best group of players. I don't think he meant inability. I think just
but they don't show any work ethic. So and then they don't show any work ethic, so they can't be the best players on work ethic.
Well, no, Inter Milan had a better team than we've got. The one that won the league in Serie A. Obviously, they did because they won the league.
Really. Gary, let's come to you. In the 56th minute, which I thought was strange, Ben Davies was brought down. Harry Kane was trying to talk to the referee, and then Christian Romero just seemed to get involved and then got given the yellow card. What did you make of that incident?
But I like Romero, but I've been saying since day one, he's just got that thing about him. He's always getting booked and stuff. He's going to be able to play that gets, he's going to be able to play that gets sent off a lot and starts costing us games and that. I do like him. He is good. He's pacey, and sometimes you want a bit of attitude and stuff from your players because the majority of them don't care. So you like seeing some of that. But unfortunately, in today's game and stuff, it's a bit. But it looked like he kind of went over and was trying to sort of calm it down. But with Romero, he's getting booked every other game, man. Whenever he plays, there's always a booking. If you want to put a bet on something, put a bet on Romero's going to get yellow carded, mate, because it's always going to happen. You know what I mean? But look, I mean, I'd certainly prefer him over Royale. But again, he's a bit of a liability. It's just one of them games tonight, mate. Listen, I'm not even down about it in the slightest. I am absolutely fine that we've gone out to Borough in the FA Cup. I'll be more disappointed if we'd have lost to Leeds. But, going back to what we were talking about earlier, when you're playing City, it's a nice sunny day. Leeds, you're playing, it's a nice sunny day. This goes back to what the guy put on, because I just don't think them players are really up for it up north on a wet night. And I don't know if it's because of the conditions or because they don't really care about the trophy or what it is. But and Conte's included in this. I think in a lot of the league games, they still look like they want it more. And Conte looks more interested. I just wonder, are they looking at the FA Cup like the Carabao Cup and stuff now? Because they really just weren't interested. And neither was Conte. So I just wonder. And I won't be surprised when we play Everton at home, we put on a really great display and win probably 2 or 3 or 4-0 or whatever. I wouldn't be surprised in the slightest. But, yeah, I don't know. Romero, for me, I like him, but he's going to get sent off. That I do know. And that's it.
So in the 59th minute, Harry Kane thought that he'd put Tottenham Hotspur 1-0 up, and of course it was ruled offside. In the 65th minute, Middlesbrough had a free kick just wide of the right post. 82nd minute, Middlesbrough another attack, shot over the bar, and then Antonio Conte made some changes. Emerson Royale, Stephen Bergvall coming on, Doherty and Sessions going off. Eleanor, what did you make of that double change?
Needed to happen. I think they're definitely. He needed to make a sub. He took very long to do it. He didn't really have much to choose from. I can understand the sub he made. Yeah, I just think it was just to try and inject something in. I get Bergwijn needed. For me, I tweeted Bergwijn needed to come on. I think he needed to come on, but obviously he didn't do enough. But I thought it was a understandable change.
Sorry, I have to dry my cat when he's been out in the rain. He has to be dried.
Yeah,
he doesn't like the wet. Sorry,
Craig. Let's come to you.
Quicker than any of the Tottenham players, though.
Craig, let's come to you. Spurs had a chance in the 85th minute. Heung-min Son corner. Eric Dyer headed over the bar. What did you make of that? Could Dyer have done any better there?
It was nice to see us actually have a decent chance from a corner for once, to be honest. Because as much as I said, I don't trust our defending from a corner when we've conceded a corner, I don't see us scoring many from corners either. So I think the keeper got lucky with, I don't think it obviously wasn't that one, but there was one a bit nearer the end that almost scrambled underneath him. Could argue Dyer could have done better, but, at least he had an opportunity and a chance there. But we've never been brilliant from corners, have we? Certainly over the last few years. I mean, how many times did Ericsson hit the front man? As good as Ericsson was, he couldn't get it past the front post, could he?
Well, in the 87th minute, Hugo Lloris was forced into a good save, and I've got to say that Hugo made a couple of good saves for us tonight, kept us in the game. But in stoppage time, Gary, let's come to you. In stoppage time, Heung-min Son with a header at the goalkeeper from a Kulusevski cross. The amount of last-minute goals and stoppage time goals that we have scored lately, surely you thought that was the moment. Yeah,
I thought that. And then that little cheeky back heel, sorry, he's all right now. The cheeky little back heel as well. It wasn't it. I thought it was a cheeky back heel, but it wasn't. It was almost an own goal, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I went back and checked it. But the header, I think he's got to go far offside, hasn't he? He's gone near post with the goalkeeper. If he headers that back over the other way, it's a goal. But, it's all ifs and buts. I mean, like we all spoke about earlier, I didn't think Son had a good game. And Son can do that. He can go, games after games. And he's just like almost non-existent in games. I mean, I was watching the second half and I was thinking to myself, has Son even done anything? Like you wouldn't even know he was on the pitch, which is sad really, because I don't think he doesn't give effort. You know, if there's one player that runs and gives effort, it's Son, but he just disappears in games, unfortunately, and it happens quite often, I'm afraid. Yeah, you know, look, we could have equalised, but again, if it goes to penalties, I think we would have gone out tonight anyway, I'm afraid. So, to be honest, I'm glad we lost 1-0 and we didn't equalise and it didn't go to penalties. So I'm quite happy, if I'm honest with you, mate. Because I think it would have been more painful.
That's why he kept Son on, I think. Penalties.
I just wanted to add something just to see you guys' opinions. Have you not realised that I know we were all happy with the 11, right? We can all collectively agree we're happy with the 11. But you know, he played the same 11 4 times in 9 days.
There is that element. You know, I've thought that as well. You know, these players are going to be tired, and I have said this since the January transfer window. We do have a small squad, so if we want any chance of finishing in a decent European spot, we are going to have to play that same team again and again and again. And Antonio Conte always wants the team that he knows and the team that he trusts most. It's going to be a very difficult season until the end of the season, isn't it?
Yeah, no, I get that. And I mean, I guess this is when you have to start like prioritizing things. But I just think there could be an element of that. You don't know. And I'm not trying to make excuses for the players that should be able to turn up. I'm not saying they shouldn't be. Yeah. Obviously, that is fault on the club. We haven't got a big enough squad. But I'm just saying it could be a factor in, maybe that's when you try change things up. I don't know. But it just seems that it's going to be, like you said, a long old road.
Chris, just sorry, Eleanor, just because it came into my mind. Chris, just remind me, was it a couple of years ago where we just scraped through against Middlesbrough at home? We had Borough, didn't we, a year or two ago? In the FA Cup. Is that right?
It was a replay.
Yeah. Well, back then we only just made it. I think we go 2 up and they got 1 back, and then they were piling on the pressure. I think Tanganga had quite a good game in that one, if memory serves me right. Is that right? Or?
These are always very difficult games, and for anyone thinking that we were just going to roll them over, I was confident that we were going to get the win tonight. I didn't think that we were just going to go there and make it easy for ourselves, but it was always going to be difficult.
Was that 2 years ago now, Chris? Was it? But when we went to the replay back at ours and beat them 2-1, yeah.
January 2020, 2 years ago, yeah.
Yeah, well, we wasn't great that day. You know, and that was 2 years ago. And we only just got over the line then. So it went to a replay, came to our ground. And like I was saying earlier, if it had been at our ground tonight, I think we would have just got over the line. And 2 years ago, we just got over the line because I was at that game and I remember leaving it and it ended 2-1 and thinking we got away with one there. You know, I can't remember if they had a player sent off. Maybe they didn't know. But we only just about beat them.
Yeah, and then Norwich knocked us out, I think, didn't they?
Yeah. So, you know... Yeah, so we've been here plenty of times before. So it's no shock going out to Borough tonight. Yes, on paper, you know, we should beat them and everything else, but in reality and not on paper, it's not how it is, unfortunately, for Tottenham. And Eleanor, I agree what you say. You know, you don't care about Man United and all that, but I was watching that game tonight thinking they've put Man U out. So if they could put Man U out, who's above us and playing better, then they could put us out. And that's what happened. I think the only way we probably could have won that is if it was at our ground tonight. And that would only been because of the home fans might have got us over the line, you know?
Well, I mean, I get what you're saying in terms of like, oh yeah, they did do that. They got a result. But what I'm saying is these teams, anyone can get a result against anyone. That doesn't mean they're actually better. I just mean I think they got a result against United. I think also we went in that mentality that we were going to win it, and I think we obviously didn't. And
but answer me this just quickly: when we play Everton, when we got Everton next Monday or whatever,
we can take it differently.
What's your expect?
We'll talk about Gary.
I expect to have a whole different attitude.
Yeah, we'll talk about the Everton game shortly. We'll talk about that shortly. Craig, let's come to you. I just wanted your opinion, Craig, on Antonio Conte changing the back three and the wing backs into a back four, because we seem to be the amount of chances that we were conceding going to a back four. It was quite worrying at that point.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, he obviously was trying to change it so we could
vulnerable. That's the word I was looking for.
Yeah. Control the midfield a bit better, but it totally backfired, didn't it? It was quite alarming actually. How they just didn't seem to be able to cope with it going to a back four, which is is what we've played for. These players have played for a few years. Really, it was quite alarming to see. And then did he eventually go back to a 3? Didn't he, when he brought Reguilon on? I think. But yeah, he was obviously trying to change it, and that didn't work. And that's the part I was talking about. He must have been sitting there thinking, "Christ Almighty, what do I do?" You know, they're struggling in a 3, and they can't play with a back 4. So yeah, it was a very, very strange game tonight. It was like, it's very rare, isn't it? But that's the only positive I'd say. It's very rare that your front 3 all play crap at the same time, and you haven't got much else on the bench when that happens.
It was just a bit like Burnley, wasn't it? It was like Burnley, really.
I think it was worse than Burnley, to be honest with
you. Sonny's cameo was worse, so I think that's worse.
I wouldn't have minded if it was a cameo, though. He was on all game. He was crap all game.
I just meant the game.
Yeah. I mean, it was so surprising that they were all just off it tonight, and I think it must come down to fatigue. It must be that, because I hadn't really thought of it like that they'd played that many games, but. You'd think they would know. They have all these monitors on them, and they know when players are in the red and everything, and they have all the figures, and they think, right, okay, well, he's running on empty. As much as I don't want to change it, I've got to change it. But then again, who do you bring in the middle? Who would you have played in the middle tonight in midfield?
Yeah. Do you think it would have made a difference if we're at home, Craig? What's your opinion on that? And Elena, do you not think it would have made a difference, or do you think it makes a big difference?
I don't think,
Gary, we have struggled at home as well. Against these teams. Go back to the Morecambe game in the FA Cup.
Yeah, it's not a fortress. Unfortunately, it's not a fortress. Our place. It's not, and it never will be until we can change things massively. We need to make that place a fortress if we want to do anything.
You never know what you're going to get with Tottenham, unfortunately, and we're never, ever going to know from one game to the next. And Chris, you know this more than anyone. I mean, listen, I know you expect or you hope that we're going to win every game, but, you're not silly enough. You're old enough to know, you've been a Spurs fan for as long as I have.
Gary. I want to see a lot more than I did tonight, and, particularly after Man City.
But I think, Chris, you will see that, though. We'll see the next game and the one after, and then we'll be on another chat and we'll be saying how amazing we were. Like when we played Liverpool and we got a draw, we should have won that game. When we went up to Old Trafford and spanked them 6-1. You will get that with Tottenham, but you just don't get it consistently. But you will get them performances. I don't think for a minute now, because we've gone out of the FA Cup to Middlesbrough, that's the season over. I still look. We're not getting top 4. That was never going to happen anyway. We're finishing 6th. That's it. But we'll probably pull off some really good performances and get some amazing wins. And that's what it is about being a Spurs fan. Unfortunately, that's where we are at the moment. Yes, we all want trophies and everything else, and we want to win the league. But we're a long, long way from it. Unfortunately, So I think we've just got to enjoy the wins when we get them.
I think there's a positive, if you can take a positive. I think what Jason McGovern, I think it was, said, he's dead right. Don't get too low for the lows, and don't get too high when you get the highs, because that's all you can take from any Spurs performance at the moment. Don't get too excited when we're good.
And it's very true. Like when we beat City, we were that close to not beating them, because typical Tottenham, we give away a penalty in the last minute or whatever. But beating City, I said, I was doing all the voice notes everywhere, and I was playing Tottenham songs on the way home, in the car and everything else. But I said that's our trophy this season. That win, we get them big wins like we did when we went up to Old Trafford and battered them. When we did Woolwich, we get them big wins. But that's just sort of our level at the moment, because we're not consistent enough to go right the way through and win a trophy or win the league.
Yeah. But look at the 2 results where we've played well recently, City and Leeds. What they both got in common? They're teams that press you, that play high up the pitch,
play high up the pitch, and spaces at the back.
Yeah, and we cannot break teams down, and essentially that's what Middlesbrough would have been tonight.
What do we do with teams like that? We get them on the break, and Son and Kane love it, and then they've got the space to make them balls and play. But playing Borough away on a Tuesday night when it's raining and it's horrible, we ain't going to be able to play like that. Same way as Burnley last week on a Wednesday.
That's right.
That's it.
That's right. But oddly, they didn't actually play a low block tonight, Middlesbrough, really, because they dominated possession in spells as well, which is very odd. I expected us to at least dominate possession tonight, and we didn't.
Yeah,
it was like we didn't do either. It was like we was trying to play on the counter in stages, and we weren't doing that properly. So
it's so funny though. Like we do the double over City. We beat Leeds, we get their manager the sack, then we go up to Borough and go out of the FA Cup. I mean, you can't get any more Spursy in Tottenham than that. Come on. This is who we are. You know, I think we should just celebrate it. We are where we are, and Tottenham will be where Tottenham will be. But we love the club. You know, it's just how it is. It's just one of those things, isn't it?
Gary, let's stay with you. In the 13th minute of extra time, Middlesbrough had a shot which went over the bar. A minute later, they had another shot. Hugo Lloris made a good save. In stoppage time, the first half of extra time, Heung-min Son had another glorious chance, flicked it towards goal. Goalkeeper saved it from a Kulusevski cross. Now, two great chances for Heung-min Son. One right at the end of the 90 minutes, and then one at the end of extra time first half. When you want two glorious chances to fall to somebody in the team, surely you're going to choose Heung-min Son.
Yeah, Son. Listen, look, I love the guy. You know, Chris, we've spoken many times about him. I know he's your favourite player. He's my favourite player. But unfortunately with Son, especially tonight, you know, he did just not look at the races. And I don't think it's lack of effort with Son. I really don't. You know, you look at some players and they just don't look like they're making the effort and stuff like that. But I don't know Son personally, but we all know Son enough from the documentaries and all the stuff he's done to know he loves Tottenham and he wants to do his very best for Tottenham. But even if you go back to that Carabao Cup final with Man City, you know, he was on the floor crying at the end. But I looked at him and thought, what did you really do in that game, mate? Yeah. You know, it's a shame. But unfortunately, when push comes to shove with these games, when you need them sometimes, they just fall a bit short. I mean, is it too many games? Is it tiredness? Is it because, you know, they're up north and it's a horrible wet night? I don't know the answer,
you
mate.
saying up north?
Do you know what I mean? You know, they go out of London and they're just like, they're buggered.
Nah, I'm not about it. I'm not about it. Take me back to London.
Eleanor, let's come to you. Do you want to talk us through the goal in the 17th minute of extra time? It was a wonderful finish, wasn't it, from Coburn, the Middlesbrough youngster?
I didn't see it, thankfully.
I'm not going to lie to you. When he kicked it, that was it header. I can't even remember where it was scored, to be honest with you. I
wasn't watching it at that point. I'm so pleased I missed it because
not going to lie, I remember laughing. Do you know what? It was Pancake Day, obviously. I had my family round. My uncle is an Arsenal fan, and he literally got up to leave, and he goes, I'm going to leave you lot to, you know, concentrate properly, because, you know, when you've got like an Arsenal fan, or, you know, if I'm watching Arsenal and I've got a Tottenham fan in, it doesn't feel the same. And literally, as he got up to leave, they scored, and I was looking at him saying bye, and then they scored, and he just laughed, and I just was like, if you don't laugh, you'll cry. And then I laughed. So I don't actually remember the goal. Anyone could talk me through it.
So we're blaming your uncle then. We're blaming your uncle for the defeat. Is that what you're saying?
I blame him for a lot of our defeats. We can do that. But he was round, and it was we just thought, we're playing Borough, we're gonna get through. So we didn't think it was gonna be like an embarrassing situation.
Craig, do you want to talk through the goal and tell Eleanor it wasn't a header?
Yeah, it wasn't a header.
I think it was cute. I don't even remember.
It was actually good play by Middlesbrough and down the right, and the guy just cut into the box or ran onto the path and just hit it as hard as he could straight across Lloris, and it was a great finish, to be honest with you. And I just sat there and went, "Oh, for fuck's sake!"
I saw it go in, but I don't actually remember what happened. And then I was like, I literally said the same thing, and then we laughed. So
no, it was a great finish. Fully deserved, and there's not really much else I can say on it, Chris. To be honest, I don't know how the fans reacted. Our fans, anyway, probably much the same as me. But and then you just knew they were going to sit back. But to be honest, they were very unlucky actually not to score a second right at the death.
Yes, I saw that. I saw that.
So-
That was crazy when he squared it across the front of goal, right? And then
it could have been worse. Could have been more embarrassing.
100%. I
2
saw
or
that.
3.
Well, before that, they
Yeah.
should have scored. Before that, I don't know
Yeah.
how they didn't score before that because that guy.
Yeah.
I don't know
That's
how
what I'm saying. I think
they could have scored loads.
The fact we lost 1-0,
Yeah.
I think it's a result. I think we've done all right to only lose 1-0. And I don't think it's embarrassing because I think people will look at Tottenham away at Middlesbrough and be like, oh yeah, Tottenham have lost to Middlesbrough away. I don't think we're that big club where it's actually an embarrassing result. Like we're just Tottenham. So that's it.
That's the difference, though, Gary. I think it is an embarrassing result because
Yeah,
we should
same.
be
Yeah,
we should be turning over teams like Middlesbrough. We're the greatest.
No, I
respect to
don't
Middlesbrough.
think we should, mate. I don't think we should at this precise moment. Not when we're getting done by Burnley and stuff like that. You know, Middlesbrough knocked Man U out. There was every chance they could beat Tottenham tonight. And if none of us thought that they could beat us tonight, then we're mental. Come on. There was every chance in the world they could turn us over if they turned over Man
chance.
U.
Yeah, I just didn't think it would come to fruition.
Fruition.
That's the one.
No,
We know
I think,
what you mean.
I know what you mean.
Yeah, you go.
I think they. Obviously, I thought they had a chance to turn us over tonight, but I just didn't see it happening after the Leeds game because, again, stupid me, I thought, well, they can't put in a bad performance after that. Their tails are going to be up. You know, we're going to push on. We're just going to get through this game. It's going to be a tough game.
You
but
remember City, didn't you? And then Burnley.
That's
so,
it.
You know,
that's it.
I remember when the draw came, and I looked around at my missus. I went, "Fucking hell, Borough away. That's not going to be easy. They've just put out Man U." I said, if we were at home, I'd be more confident. But away, we might just scrape it, but we'll probably go out, and we did. You know, but I just think that's just Tottenham at the moment. That's just our level. We'll have a really great result, and then a really bad result. You know,
well,
fucking hell, Chris, you and me went to bloody Amsterdam and lost 1-0 to that crappy team.
Yeah, all those away games in the Europa Conference League still didn't see a win.
Oh my God.
I mean, come on, that team that we lost to in Amsterdam, that was even worse, mate. That was a shocking defeat. Shocking
Gary
defeat.
Moan non-stop.
Yeah. So losing to Borough tonight, 1-0 away from home. Listen, that ain't too bad at all. Thank you very much. I'll take that.
Well,
that's all right.
Before we talk about our next game, which will, of course, in the Premier League next Monday, against Everton, let's take this comment on screen, restore some hope to this lot, and talk about what your dream summer window looks like. Eleanor, let's start with you.
Do I want, or just like position-wise? Because we need a playmaker. I don't care what Conte says. He only wants to attack from the wings. We need a proper, like, true number 10.
Yeah.
So we need a playmaker. We need a right winger, like we need a right back or a right wing back that is a right wing back. No converting this player to a right wing. No. We need to buy decent right wing back. Ideal summer window. Jesus. Okay, we need a backup striker. I mean, I could go on. We need a backup striker. We need a left playing centre back that's not Davis. And I understand he's not really putting a foot wrong. Okay, he's not good enough. Would like a difference in DM that's not Javier. For me, I wanted Zachariah when we were getting him. So, yeah, I know he's been injured and whatnot. But, yeah. I mean, this could just go on, innit? Like, we need another centre back. That's not like Romero to be with. That's not Diane. I think Diane's been great. Yeah, 100%. But I still know he's not good enough for that. What other top 6 club is going to want Eric Dyer to be their main centre back? That's where I think look at it and think, okay, we need to upgrade. Obviously, I mean, Wink's out. He's not even in my first 11, so I don't even think about it. To the comments, by the way, I'm thinking Bentancur is more of a first 11 player. That was how many signings? 5? 4? 5? I don't even know how many I just said.
I'll ask you for your realistic one now, Eleanor.
Christmas. You said ideal. What'd you say?
Now I said be realistic.
We'll get one, and it will be someone for the future.
Yeah, exactly.
We'll just get like a young centre back for the future.
Craig, how are you feeling about the summer window? There's a lot to do, isn't there?
There is a lot to do, but if we want to
Yeah.
push on and we actually want to make a difference to this squad, we've got to spend money and spend big. But there are players out there, in my opinion, that are gettable for a reasonable fee. And if you're asking me to give you names personally, I would go all out for somebody like Tariq Lamptey for the right wing back position, and the young lad from Forest who's on loan from Middlesbrough. I think, is that right? I can't remember his name. Anyway, yes, him. I think James Ward-Prowse would come in for the right amount of money. Personally, personally, I know this is going to be controversial, and you know my feelings about him, but I would go and get Gareth Bale back for another season. I'm not talking about playing him every single game, but I think he would have. Imagine having Bale on the bench tonight to bring on. I'm sorry, but he would have made a difference.
Mourinho used him properly. I'm sorry, I had to get my sprinkle of Jose slander.
Personally, I disagree with what Ellen has said about Eric Dyer. I think he's been one of our best players, and I think we've missed him when he's not been there. I think that's proved.
Yes, do you not think he's able to be upgraded on?
I would. Would you rather have Harry Maguire or Eric Dyer?
No, I didn't say that's not the only two options.
Eric Dyer. Football. God.
Yeah, I'm just saying. You said would he get into the other top 4 teams? See, I would rather have Eric Dyer over Harry Maguire.
No, if you're going to compare us to United, they're also in a very awful place as well. So what I'm saying is, if you're looking at,
but that's where we are.
No, but are they going to fight? If
ours is more awful.
On the market today, what teams are fighting for Eric Dyer?
Well, nobody's going to come in for him. Not the top. You're talking about Liverpool and City.
That's where we need to be looking at.
Liverpool and City, but he's Rudiger.
Okay with just having someone just because he's good for us.
Well, in that case, what I would personally go for somebody like Matthias de Ligt. I think he'd be a good fit for Tottenham. Yeah. Well, you could argue we could do with 2 more centre backs, but I don't think we'd get them. We certainly need a creative midfielder like a James Ward-Prowse, like I say.
Yeah.
And we do need, and I wouldn't say a backup striker. I think we need another striker that's going to challenge Harry Kane. Now, who that is, who's out there that we could get, is probably another debate. But I'm sure there's plenty of strikers out there that would want to come and play for Conte. But I think, as I said before, I think we've got to bring at least half a dozen. There's half a dozen players, you know. Even Eriksen. I mean, Conte was talking glowingly about Eriksen being at Brentford. It was unusual that he was saying it'd be nice to work with him again, because managers don't normally say that sort of thing. So you never know. I would say watch that one. I think we might even go back in for Eriksen in the summer. But there's a lot of work to be done, Chris, is bottom line. There's a lot of work to be done. And it just goes to show, if we'd got Luis Diaz over the line, what a player we'd have had in him. And I still think, and I know, again, he splits opinion, but if Adama Traore had come in, he would have been a better option. I don't think we'd have played him at right wing back all the time. I think he would have been a good option to play where Kulusevski was playing, you know, as another option. With crying out for somebody like that tonight, and we just haven't got that strength on the bench. We didn't have anybody on the bench tonight that I thought could come on and turn that game. Something a bit different, you know. Even Llorente when he was here, that would have been a bit different option, wouldn't it? We just didn't have it. Did not have it tonight, and we haven't had it for the last few weeks.
Yeah, Gary, do you want to have your say on the transfer window? What you're expecting?
It's funny because what Craig said, I'd already written down Bell, James Ward-Prowse, Eriksen, and Rudiger, but I don't think we'll get any of them. So, so we can put names down and we can talk all day long, but who we're actually going to get, it's going to be completely different. But I'd love to see Bell back and Eriksen as well. I just don't understand why he went to Brentford. I was like, just bring him back now, you know. But I don't think Eriksen's going to go back to Tottenham. I don't think the Bell thing will go through. Rudiger won't come to Spurs just because of the whole Chelsea-Tottenham thing. James Ward-Prowse, we probably won't even get him either. So, you know, we do need a creative midfielder. We need another striker, not backup. We just need another striker, but I don't know, mate, about this summer. We'll just have to see, because you know yourself, what we want and what we get is going to be 2 totally different things with Tottenham Hotspur, unfortunately. So, but we need to get a few in, mate, because otherwise Conte will say, that's it, thanks. You know, I've put up with this for long enough, and if you're not going to give me the players I want, see you later. Yeah. And off he'll go. So
In a way,
Well,
though, can I just say one little thing on that?
Yeah.
In a way, is that not a good thing? Like, in a way, not in terms of Conte leaving, but hopefully it opens people's eyes to what our ownership is like in terms of to another extent. Like, we all said, like, Conte was Levy's last roll of the dice. Could it not be a good way in both senses?
Yeah, but it just the thing is if he does walk, where do we go from there? It doesn't mean they're going to sell or walk away. We could
it doesn't.
Get Graham Potter in or something.
I don't think he's going to walk. I really don't think he's going to walk. He'll only walk at the end of the summer if he hasn't got what he wants. So, because
that's
it looks.
What I mean,
no, but that's what we're saying. Like
it looks bad on Conte if he walks now. Let's face it, because he's basically saying, "I can't do my job properly." That's what he's saying. I thought of another couple of players that are personally. We've got a young lad. I think he's at Cheltenham on loan, Keon Atete. He's been banging in the goals. He's actually looks like a really good prospect, and he's ours. I was also personally go for Michael Elise from Crystal Palace as another option, because I think he's going to be a good player. So if you're talking affordable players that are fast, hungry players, there's another option.
Yeah.
And
what about you,
I know
Chris?
it's another winger, but
what about you? Who do you think we should bring out, and who do you think we will?
I just think there's so much work to do, Gary. I really do, and I just think that we need to bring in the players that Conte wants. Most importantly, going to improve this squad. But I just think that there is hell of a lot to do, and I just hope that Conte is backed in the right way in the summer, because when we've got a world-class manager like this, we need to back him in the right way, and we will be successful. But there's a lot to do, so much to do.
Yeah.
I don't want to name names because, of course, it will all change in the summer. But there's a lot of free transfers out there at the moment. A lot of very decent players. It means that we could go out and get free transfers. It doesn't mean that we're going to spend big money. We could get some good deals done on free transfers, but we will need to pay the wages. But ultimately, as well, and the other argument is that if we're in the Europa Conference League again, or in the Europa League, some of these players that we will be targeting would want to be playing Champions League football. So that is highly important as well. So there's so much to it, from now until the end of the season. And like Eleanor said earlier, about the players being tired and about using the same players again and again and again, we've got to be lucky with injuries as well until the end of the season. There is so much to it, and I just hope and pray that everything works out and things go well for us. Who knows? The Evening Standard have just put out an article stating Antonio Conte believes mentality of Tottenham Hotspur players is behind too many ups and downs in form. And they're quoted him in saying, if we want to be competitive in the future, these aspects will have to improve a lot. Eleanor, let's start with you about the next game, next competitive game for Spurs. Of course, Everton at home on Monday at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium in the Premier League. How do you see this one going?
I'm hoping that, as Gary has said, and I agree, that in the league we do have a different mentality. And I'm not saying it's great. We lost to Wolves, we lost to Southampton, we lost to Burnley. I'm not saying it's great, but I don't think all of us, in terms of as fans and manager and players, don't look so unbothered. Like, we literally looked so not bothered today. I don't see us winning. I don't see us losing it. I could see a draw all day, but I do think we'll show more effort than we did today. I think that game will be very different to today's game. And, maybe that's just me being wishful thinking, but I genuinely
think you're right.
I think it will be different to today's game. I feel like today just had that feel about it. Like, I just had that feel about it from the minute it kicked off. It had the feel where it just wasn't being taken seriously. I do think we take our league games more seriously, and I think we can give Everton a game. Who say we can't win? We can win, but I'm just saying after today, I'm thinking, okay, maybe we can, maybe we will draw, but I think the game will be very, very different. I'll be surprised if we play the same.
Eleanor, how are you going to feel being in the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, seeing Dele Alli in an Everton shirt?
Let's not go there. Listen, he was awful for us for a long time. He's been awful for them, but that I still think of that video and it makes me really emotional. So I'm still mourning that situation because it just means the whole just that, that Poch team is officially done. And yeah, I am mourning it still. So it will be weird. I really hope we do sing We Got Ali just for the vibes, and then beat them anyway. But just for the vibes, it will still be a bit sad. I will be sad. But you lot know I'm sentimental. I'm the typical Tottenham fan that you lot hate. Like, I'm sentimental. I don't want to lose anyone. So yeah.
Apart from Dyer.
Well, I'll lose Dyer. Right. I love him, but he loves me only sometimes.
You're not sentimental with Doherty though, are you?
I mean, he's a gooner. I say no to gooners.
Yeah, I forgot about that. I remember when he first joined it, he was deleting all his Twitter things. You just reminded me about that.
Yeah.
That's another reason I'm going to hate him.
I just want to add one player that I really wanted to get because I forgot. Pau Torres, left playing centre back, but he wants Champions League football, so we'll see when he does.
Yeah. Well, Everton are currently 17th in the Premier League. They're just 1 point away from the relegation zone. They've played 24. They've drawn 4 and lost 14. Got a goal difference of -13. And of course, they've just employed Frank Lampard as their manager. Craig, what have you made of Everton so far this season? Of course, Benitez was in charge. Lampard has now taken over. Of course, in the January transfer window, Dele Alli has arrived at Everton. How are you feeling ahead of this game?
Well, I think for once we can honestly say that Everton is a team that's got more problems than Tottenham Hotspur. It's certainly a game we should be looking to win. And let's face it, we're due a win because we played crap tonight, and that's how it's been going at the moment. We've been playing a good one, and then we've been having a bad one. It's a bit like nip one, pearl one. I must admit, I'm a bit sentimental with Dele Alli, as you know. The video he put out was an emotional one. Don't usually get that attached to players, but it was like that last part of the Poch team. He was like everything that held it together. Very popular character around the dressing room. Very sad to see him go, but with the performances he's put in at Everton so far, from what I've seen, it's almost like he's gone backwards again, which is a real shame because I'd love to see Dele Alli get back to his very, very best and get back into the England squad, but I can't see it happening. I hope the crowd give him a very good reception if he does get on. I wouldn't go as far to say I want to see Dele Alli score against us, though it would be very interesting to see how he reacted if he did, as long as we went on to win the game. I think we should have enough to turn Everton over, but we've got to do it a million times more than we did tonight to give it a chance, because Everton are fighting for their lives now. And yes, they're not used to being in a relegation scrap, but I'll tell you what, if Everton go down, they're in big, big, big trouble. So they're going to want to get points on the board. And let's face it, it's Lampard, and I can't stand Lampard. And he's going to want to turn us over. So they've got to be on their games on it's Monday night, isn't it? Yeah. So yeah, bring it on. All we can do is put this game behind us today. We're out of the FA Cup again. 31 years since winning the FA Cup. It's going to be 32. So let's finish the season as strongly as we possibly can, and get as many victories under our belts as we can. Because let's face it, that's all we've got left now. That's all we've got left, and that's what we've got to focus on: getting as many points on the board and winning as many games as we can, and start again on Monday.
Actually, Eleanor, can I come back to you? Can you give me a score prediction for the Everton game?
1-1.
Craig, what are you going for?
Nothing exciting.
I'll go 2-1 Tottenham, narrow victory.
Gary, how are you feeling about this game? And feel free to give your score prediction.
Yeah, confident, really confident. I think it will be a good game. I think we'll play really well. I think it'll be probably a bit like a Harry Kane show again. I think Kane will get a couple, and Koulibaly, he'll score. We'll win 3-1. We'll concede because we're Tottenham, so we always concede. But yeah, 3-1 Tottenham. And I think it'll be a really good game and a good display. And, you'll do your show and people say, why couldn't we play like that when we was away to Borough? Look how good we played against Everton tonight. Why can't we keep doing that? Why can't we kick on to the next game? And that will be the conversation. So we will definitely concede because we're Spurs, but we will play some really good football and have a lot of chances and probably score about 3, but probably could have scored 5, 6 or 7. And that's exactly how I see it. This game tonight, has made no difference or bearing on the Everton game what I would have expected, the same way the City didn't on the Burnley and so on. So, yeah, all I can see is a Tottenham win, and a very convincing Tottenham win as well.
I like that. In a way.
Just people saying in the comments that we loaned Dele Alli. We did not loan Dele Alli. Dele Alli has been sold to Everton, and he can play against us.
Yep.
Yeah, he's not loaned. He's gone. He's gone.
Lamps, nothing special. Lamps is better than anything.
Sadly.
Can I just ask you all a last question before we go? Eleanor, let's start with you.
Yeah, I'm scared what it is now.
With everything that has gone on, where realistically do you see Spurs finishing at the end of the season in the Premier League?
I hate this question.
You knew it was coming.
I knew it was coming. I just hate it. I would like to think we could... Positively, I would say 5th. Realistically, I'll say 7th.
Europa Conference League football again.
Good luck going there, Chris.
and me, I'll be the mug going with him.
and you. At least you got company. See, therapy sessions.
Well, I don't know if you call it that, but
if there's any driving to be done, I'll come with you next time if we get. I didn't say I'd drive. I'll be in the car.
Yeah, I'll drive. I'll drive because I don't sleep, so it's fine.
I will add though, if we finish 5th, that is an overachieve. Like that's a good season. Like if we finish 5th, that's a good season after the way we've had this season, and that's bad to say, but yeah, if we finish 5th, I'll be chuffed. Awfully.
Craig, be realistic. What do you think?
Oh God, this is how this club gets you. Because if you'd asked me the same question after the Man City game, I'd honestly said 4th.
Yeah,
I'd honestly said 4th. And let's face it, 4th is still. That's the crazy thing about this season. 4th is still achievable, isn't it? That's the thing. I don't think we will finish 4th. Look, I'd be deluded if I was to stand here or sit here and say we're going to finish 4th. I think we will. At the moment, we'll finish 6th. At a push 5th, sadly, and I'd love to turn around and say 4th. And a few weeks ago, I would have said that, but nobody in their right mind is going to say 4th. Even though if Conte's saying it to the players, we can still finish in the top 4. Personally, I don't think it would be a disaster if we don't get Champions League football this year. I still think we can attract decent enough players that are going to make a difference and get the players in that Conte wants. We've seen these 2 players that came in from Juventus. If we're honest, most of us have probably never heard of them, but they've been pretty good buys. I think we can agree on that. Probably not the players that we wanted, but they're not that bad. And especially Bentancur, I think hit the ground running, and Kulusevski's just it's his worst game tonight. But let's face it, he's been pretty good, hasn't he? So there are a few positives there. But as you said, Chris, the main thing is we can shout players' names around all day long, but Conte's got to get in the players that he wants, and Fabio Paratici's got to get those players over the line as well. I personally think Daniel Levy is going to give him money to spend in the summer. Whether that's going to be enough remains to be seen. But he's got to. I mean, it's unthinkable if Daniel Levy doesn't back him this summer. Then something's got to change massively at the club, because what is the point in getting in Conte if you're not going to back him? How many times have we said that? He's got to have the players in this summer that he wants, and they've got to move heaven and earth to get those players in, no matter what they have to do and no matter what money they have to pay. And that is what has got to happen for us to improve, because if it doesn't, we're knackered.
A lot to do.
Exactly.
Gary, what are you thinking?
What I said since the start of the season, and I know, Craig, you mentioned after the City game you thought 4, but my opinion and my thoughts on Tottenham don't change and haven't changed. I still think we're going to finish 6th. We could. There is a slim possibility we could maybe finish 5th, and there's also the same possibility we could finish lower, 7th or 8th. But I'll stick with what I said at the start of the season, and nothing's changed my opinion on that. I think we'll finish 6th. So yeah.
Okay. Well, Gary, Eleanor, Craig, thanks so much for joining me this evening, particularly after these circumstances of losing again. It's now 4 defeats in our last 6 games in all competitions. Something has to change soon.
Yeah, but we did beat Man City though away. We did do the double over Man
in the
City
last 20 seconds.
You know, so it's not all doom and gloom. Let's remember some of the good things as well, because there are still some good things out there. You know,
there is. Eleanor, thanks so much for joining us tonight, and tell everyone where they can find you on social media and what you're up to at the moment.
So you can find me on Twitter, lilywhite_TV. You can see my Spurs rants. And I do various streams and podcasts, which will be shared on that page as well. So yeah, you've mainly Spurs rants and me just complaining most of the time. So yeah, you can find me there.
Well, thank you very much for your time this evening. Craig, tell everyone where they can find you.
As I said before, I'm on Twitter somewhere. I've got about 137 followers, so I really don't give a shit. If you want to follow me, fine. I occasionally tweet about how good or crap Spurs are. So, I mainly enjoy coming on here for either a therapy session or actually celebrating the Spurs win. Hope I add to the debate. I hope that I sometimes help ease people's pains, because I know these sessions are a bit like a therapy session for a lot of people, and I watch them, certainly win, lose or draw if I can, and I'll sit there and watch them, and it does help you get over a bad loss, and it helps you celebrate a good win. So I hope, thanks for everybody who stayed with us till nearly 12:30 tonight, and special thanks to Chris for having me on again. Safe trip home tonight, Chris, and let's hope for a win on Monday.
Well, thank you for your time, Craig. And Gary, tell everyone where they can find you.
Thanks, Chris. I don't normally say much at the end, but I just want to say a couple of things this time. If people could give me a follow on Gary Maloney 13 on Instagram, that is where I spend most of my time. Yeah. I do all my stuff about Tottenham, because like Darren and like a few of the other guys, my account got hacked. I won't bore you with all the details, but I lost all my followers and all the people I used to moan and whinge and celebrate when we won and lost. And so if they could all refollow me on Gary Maloney 13 on Instagram, that would be amazing. I don't bother with Twitter. I don't bother with Facebook much. So that's it. That's where you can get me. So, but listen, Chris, always a pleasure coming on here, mate. I feel guilty because I'm not actually feeling that down. I'm actually high spirits and I'm feeling quite positive about it. I'm not that bothered. I'm looking forward to the next league game, and I know we're going to get a good result. And I'm still, as sad as it may be, I'm still watching our win over Man City. I'm still enjoying that. So that's my trophy. Yeah.
Well, Gary, Eleanor and Craig, thanks so much for joining me this evening. And thanks to everybody who has watched this stream, particularly late at night now, what it is, about 12:30. So thank you so much for tuning in. If you don't subscribe to the channel as yet, please do hit that subscribe button. I will see you tomorrow for a Tottenham news video. Until then, come on, you Spurs.
Go on, you Spurs.